G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Today I'm going to spend 15 minutes doing stream of consciousness journaling. Goodness, my brain has already left the chat. It's probably because I've expressed so much of my thoughts into this journaling that there are no thoughts left. They're all on the page. Okay, if you don't know what this is, basically a stream of consciousness is what it says it is. It is just what you're thinking. And any of your conscious thoughts, we're going to put them down onto paper. I'm doing the art journal version of it today. I've done this a couple times before. Once off camera, I did a 24-hour stream of consciousness journal. A lot of the images I created in that are actually used as images, like graphics on my website. And then the other one I did was for Burtonville Virtual Voyage number 2. I did a 24-hour stream of consciousness journal. Again, I filmed that process and did like a little journal within a journal. It was very meta. Really enjoyed it. I have done the page on the left and I had a really good time doing it. I would say this is the first time I've really specifically focused on like present thoughts and emotions and just devoting it to one page. Like I did before, I did the whole journal, so I felt like I was kind of flipping about through everything and everything just seemed more scattered than like a whole collection of thoughts. If that even makes sense. Don't worry if it doesn't, it means nothing. Irrelevant information. I also, I typically write a lot of my stream of consciousness. I think that's quite common. People call those morning pages, or just journaling in general, right? You're just kind of getting your thoughts out of your head and putting them onto the paper. People do this for a variety of reasons. I'm not a healthcare professional or a mental health specialist, so I can't guarantee that any of these things work and would work for you. I have heard people in the past discuss the benefits of it. I can tell you what my personal benefits are. And for me, I'm just a very logical person that struggles to process emotion sometimes. Not that I don't have emotions, I just struggle because my logic wants to take over and sometimes the emotions are just there to be felt and I really struggle with that. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by that and feeling like I can't understand it all, so I'll just reject it, I decide to write it down or create art, in this case both, so that I can get really physical with that process of processing, right? Of actually understanding what my brain is saying, what thoughts are flying around there, what is real, what is not. I think big common misconception in life is that all the thoughts we have are real. They're not. Well, mine aren't anyway. I have some very unrealistic things happening in my brain. So I just wanted to get that out, and it's a really good way to just process everything. The way I approach it is that if it's on my mind, it's going down on the paper. Good, bad, happy, sad, logical, nonsensical, it's all going down on there, and I want to enjoy the process as well. So I will pick up supplies that I like, things that I haven't used in a while as well, things that just feel good in my hand. Like I liked putting the crayon all over the page because it just felt fun to play with the crayon, felt like a kid again. I drew a fairy because I love fairies and I hadn't drawn one in a while. So some of the thoughts and some of the actions really don't have a lot attached to them, and then other things that happen are incredibly layered. I have a bit of a personal policy on this channel that I don't engage with you in things that are wounds, like open wounds, kind of current pain, that I will engage with you with my scars. I would like to talk about things I have found healing with, or I have this kind of optimistic hope for. Not that I'm a pessimistic person, that's kind of the wrong way to put it, but I don't want to engage with you on active pain because I think my pain deserves a chance to be dealt with privately, and also I don't want to bring that out in others. I don't want you to arrive at this channel today, have me express things that I can't find closure for or healing for, and then put that on you. I know some people don't see it that way, but I have a lot of empathetic followers that even when I'm having a slightly off day, do such a great job of trying to come in and encourage and kind of save me from that. And it is just not my it's not my preference to engage that way. I would much rather have you leaving the channel happier or the same way that you arrived. I definitely don't want to engage in pain. Also, even worse, if I trigger your pain, I don't want to do that. So if you are having a bit of a rough day today, I would encourage you just to choose another video, because some of this stuff that I'm journaling about is emotionally driven and I don't want to like I said, I don't want to trigger that in you. So I'll see you again another day. For anyone that's staying, let's just jump right into it. I think the pressing thing on this page, I just kind of get out of the way because I'm vulnerable 2 to 3 times a year. So today's the day, count it. The big crack that goes from top left to the bottom right of the page, the black double line with the writing in it, that is a bit of journaling about earthquakes. I have PTSD. It's specifically related to the experiences I had in Japan in 2011 with the earthquake and tsunami. I have had, at this point, it's about 10 years. I've had this PTSD and various symptoms. I have healed from a few of those symptoms. Some of them I have not. And so I don't tend to talk specifically about the symptoms, but I am able at this point to acknowledge in my life that it is something I struggle with. I wrote to the left of the fairy, and just like that, my mind goes to the worst possible outcome, dark thoughts. That is also related to the earthquake. And it's specifically just, I have this panic that sets in, sometimes just when I'm just happy and I'm just sitting there. It can be a trigger in my brain. Maybe I feel too comfortable, and I'm typically triggered into fight or flight, especially with PTSD. Like, that's kind of how my body reacted to that. And so whenever I feel too comfortable, I think my brain tries to get me prepared again. So it triggers this feeling. And it's something that annoys me. It really frustrates me because I wrote up in purple in the top left-hand page, I remember my life without PTSD. I work towards a version of that each day. That is something I'm actively always working on because I do remember it. And I don't think anyone would like the feeling, first of all, knowing what your life was like before that, knowing that you're still that same person, you just had one experience that kind of changed you forever. So I'm still working on that. Like I said, I'm not going to share my open pains, just the scars, but I can say that I have found healing from multiple symptoms I've had from PTSD that I had for many years. So that is wonderful for me. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. For now, I just want to share the rest of what's going on. In pink, I actually started the page saying I feel good, but I'm procrastinating. That was a direct response to setting up for the filming. I felt good, but once I'd set it all up, I was like, oh, I'll just grab this pen, or what's this? Have I used this washi tape before? I knew I was procrastinating, so I wrote that down just to check in with myself there. Something down the bottom, the little monster me eating my emotions. I've talked about that before. I've been on a diet ever since I was 13. No, I am actually currently working through not talking about publicly my weight. So that's something that, some people can't help but comment about. Go off, I guess. But I am not trying to engage in that. So I'm just going to say it because it's there. But if I get thin, you'll see it. If I don't, you'll see it. And that is just the end of that story, I guess. Ironic that I'm writing accountability as I talk about that. I have been very good. Don't worry about me. Okay, the next thing, fuss. I wrote fuss because I was being really fussy. Fuss and bother. Is that a term? I don't know why it keeps popping into my head. I must have heard it somewhere. I also have a really weird active subconscious. So a lot of information that comes into my head, I don't really know where it's come from sometimes, and this is also a really great way to process that information. Specifically up here, and this is some of the interesting things that I thought about whilst I was doing this. I wrote in blue, I'm sick and tired of everyone's excuses. Truth of that matter is, I'm not going to tell you. The thing I wrote underneath it was not everyone, one person. I actually, when I wrote that down, I'd realized I had tried to sugarcoat it because I didn't want anyone to know what I was talking about. I was kind of saving face because I knew I was on camera. So I came up with an alternative version of what I wanted to say. But the reality was it was one specific person I was sick of hearing excuses from. And I'm not going to say, I even wrote there unnamed, but it's also mentioned up in the yellow in the top right-hand corner. I wrote, why do so many influencers treat their audience like they're stupid and have no deductive reasoning skills? So put the two and two together, you might deduce that I was actually watching a video. I tend to watch a lot of YouTube whilst I'm journaling, and I get really, really irritated by a lot of influencers and content and channels that I come across in their humble stage, and then I follow along with their success, and they become completely different people. They start treating their audience like they're stupid. They make up all these excuses for everything. I also struggle with being incredibly judgmental. So for me, this is not to engage with that conversation. I just wanted to say, like, those are thoughts. They're just thoughts. I don't have to do anything with them. I can put them down on this page. Better I vent them here than in the comment section of that person's video. They're real thoughts. They're going to happen. And those thoughts are also like super useful for me to remember. Accountability above my little monster me, the accountability that I have as a content creator, because I know what it's like to be a content consumer and hear those same excuses. I hate it. It's why if I'm going to be late, I'll get on here and I'll say the video's late, or there is no video this week, or I didn't manage my time well. Like, I'll try and give you as much relevant information as I can that is as honest as I can be. Sometimes I can say I'm having a rough time. I don't want to say exactly what is going on because I deserve the chance to heal some of those things privately. But at the same time, I want to make sure that you're aware of the fact that I at least appreciate, people watching the videos. And if you have formed some kind of parasocial relationship with me as a content creator, that I respect that. I'm not going to necessarily engage with it. I think it's also really hard for me to watch a lot of content creators that treat their audience, not even treat, I shouldn't say that. When they say they love their audience and they're like, I love you guys so much, I find that really difficult. I don't know if that's just a me problem, but I don't know you well enough to say whether I love you or not. I don't know who's watching this. In fact, some people are hate watching this. Totally fine. I think that's healthy too. As long as you're hate watching, not hate commenting, I think that's a healthy way to express that. Maybe you should try hate journaling. The stream of consciousness, just have a page of red scribbles while you're watching my video today. Anyway, all jokes aside, these are ways for me to process that information. So even though it might be bad, it might look like, oh, James is a terrible person, I'll take it, because to be honest, those are real thoughts. They happen in my head. There are worse ones that happen in my head that I didn't put down on this page. Not because I didn't want to, they just didn't happen, thank goodness, while I was doing this. But I've had insane thoughts before. What is so interesting about journaling them down is they look back at you. They convict you. They stare back at you. You put your hand to those words, and you've put your brain and your processing in there, and you've tried to sugarcoat something. Maybe you've tried to, give yourself a little white lie to make yourself feel better about it. And it's so convicting having those words look back at you. When I wrote, I'm sick and tired of everyone's excuses, I felt so convicted by the fact that I blanket statement everyone. I thought, no, that's not true. I don't have a problem with everyone. It's one person. So even the clarity that brings, it is one person. I realize it's the way that they're treating their audience. They're giving their audience all these excuses that the audience knows isn't true. They were treating them like they're dumb enough to believe it. I hate that, so I'm going to really make sure I don't do that. And for now, maybe I should give that content creator a break, because I'm not engaging well with it. It's not good for me to be there. So yeah, really interesting process. If you've never done this before, I really encourage you to at least give it a go. Typically I do this with writing. I will just get my Cruella journal out and illegibly write all my feelings out. But I think it was really fun to do it with my art journaling as well, because it kind of gave me a space in between the thoughts to mellow my brain out by doing things like the leaves, the really fussy line work. That kind of stuff was meditative. So I'm in this kind of flow state with my thoughts, thinking them all out, processing them all out, getting a good grasp on what is real and what is not. Big common misconception that everything we think is real is real. It's not. There can be some little lies inside your brain, having a field day with your imagination. So that becomes a little obvious too, a little apparent. And yeah, just a fun reminder that, we grow up. When we become adults, we have the ability to process many, many emotions all at once, concurrently. Is that the word I want to say? Simultaneously is probably the word I wanted. As kids, we kind of process, I'm happy right now, I'm sad right now. And as adults, we can be happy, sad, irritated, and pleased all at the same time. And yeah, for me, this just provides a lot of clarity. It really frees up my brain. I'll let the page be chaotic, not my mind, and I can move forward with a great day afterwards. I hope you found that enlightening. I would encourage you to give it a go. You don't have to share your information with anybody. I'm just doing this as a bit of an act of vulnerability. I do 2 to 3 times a year, and I will hopefully keep doing this in the future. I don't know how much I'll share of it, but I'm happy to have shared this with you today. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you again real soon. Until then, bye.